By the way, I just want to say something. Shower scam. I love your content so much, and you'll always be my favorite YouTuber. Keep up the amazing work.
The Darkness 2.
None of you will remember that game.
Okay.
It was a game that I played early on in my YouTube career.
Oh, it's low. Wow, look at that.
And I remember when The Darkness 2 came out, I hadn't played The Darkness 1, so I had no clue if I was going to like it. But at that point, I was trying to cover all the hot new releases, and this was one for this particular week. And I remember there were other games out at the time as well.
And when I played The Darkness 2, okay, basically, here's what happened.
I started playing it, and I was immediately hooked by interesting gameplay elements, but a story. Even though the game was supposed to be based around this first-person shooter gameplay with, like, tendrils and monsters, I was hooked by the story.
And the funny part about Darkness 2 is...
It's a very short game. It's about, I want to say it's 5 to 6 hours long.
Oh, that's actually hilarious.
So it's a very short experience. But every moment you're playing...
you're interested and riveted by what's going on.
There's a dual story plotline where you don't know if you're really there or if you're in a nut house and imagining all of it.
Does that sound familiar?
I mean, it's kind of similar to the plot of the Hellblade game.
Right? So...
Shut the hell up! Shut up! Shut up!
Now, some people are like, well, did you get a refund?
I couldn't. You want to know why?
I'm sure there must be a good reason for our suffering.
Later in the day, I did go back to the app and I went to do it.
Oh. If you wanted a refund, you had to take a picture to prove that you're saying the food is bad while you were eating.
Well, no fucking shit.
Well,
I took the picture. I didn't take a picture. I ate it at like 4:30. You know, I didn't finish the marathon until after 8. I didn't go to look at the app until like 10.
it was too late. So they would not accept
A refund or anything like that for it. Because I didn't take a picture.
So I was like,
wow, that's nice, you know.
So, I did give it a negative review.
What?
I got nothing back. So I basically wasted a bunch of money on that. They just wouldn't allow me to do the refund without having taken a picture live when I was eating it.
Isn't that nice of them?
You dumb fuck!
So anyway,
That was atrociously bad. So then we continued on with the marathon, and I started having a mojito to drink, which was nice, because I need to cheer myself up after that atrociously bad.
dinner,
And I ended up playing Noita. Now, I'd never heard of this game Noita before. I had no idea what it was. So Noita is a game where basically you have to beat the entire game in one run.
like a roguelike, right?
sound familiar?
Well, basically,
You're a dumb fuck! A dumb fuck!
There are direct references in this game to things from both Dark Souls, Elden Ring, and Sekiro.
for example,
In the very first open area, there's an optional boss that rides up on, it looks like on a horse. It's not. It basically has like crab legs, but it's kind of like a guy on a horse.
and
He's incredibly powerful. In fact, he's way OP for the beginning of the game. Basically, it's an optional challenge. If you beat him, you get a good early reward, like a ton of these leveling microplastics, what they call them in this game, microplastics rather than souls.
does that sound familiar to anyone? Yeah.
Excuse me? Excuse me? Sorry, do you speak English?
No, I don't, sorry.
It's literally a direct reference and homage to the Tree Sentinel that's at the very beginning of Elden Ring, an early game optional boss you don't have to fight, but man, if you take him on and beat him, you get great early game rewards.
Right.
And literally nobody cares.
One of the unique mechanics is the shell mechanic. You know, in FromSoft games, you can either block or parry.
Because you have a shield.
Well, in this game, you have a shell, and it's the same premise where you can just hold it and reduce damage.
Yeah.
You can unlock a parry where as you're blocking, you release the block, And if you release the block with the correct timing, you knock away the enemy attack, which then allows you to do a follow-up attack.
And eventually, you'll actually have the ability
Through parrying and through just hitting enemies to fill up their stun bar. Sound familiar? And when the stun bar fills, the enemy will then capsize, meaning they will flip on their back.
Boring.
When I was playing with Lily last night, I was doing well.
Why is that?
Right? And a lot of people were actually saying, like, I remember Jax Raxer said this on the stream too, they just enjoy watching me play with Lily more, because everyone knows Lily is the weakest character in the game, yet I'm actually doing really well with her. When I play with her, I usually get good wins, and everyone's, like, amazed that I could do so well with a bad character.
Right? So why is that?
What the hell is that?
There's a factor.
In fighting games that a lot of people forget about.
And now, here's that man with a head just crammed full of knowledge, Mr. Know-It-All.
And what it is
Familiarity.
No. Not yet.
alright, well, what does that mean?
It means that in any given fighting game, you're probably going to have established playstyles, established characters, archetypes.
That people are familiar with.
Got him! Got him!
For example, in Street Fighter 6, okay?
Zangief, he's a grappler. Well, guess what? Zangief has been around since Street Fighter 2.
Right?
A few moments later.
I guess I gotta change again.
I'm one of the people
Who has very rarely ultimately changed what I do. There was two times, I would say,
in my history as a creator that I made giant sweeping changes to the content that I was making because
basically it was either I was going to do it or I was going to be outdated, or it wasn't going to work anymore because of the changes YouTube had made, and we're going to talk about that.
You suck, you jackass.
but for the most part, if you look at me and the content that I'm making, alright,
It's what I want to do.
Keep telling yourself that, darling.
I'm someone who, when I started on YouTube in 2008, which is when I actually started actively posting up raw gameplay clips.
and by the way,
That's exactly what it was. It was raw gameplay clips. It wasn't playthroughs. It wasn't full Let's Plays
it was just highlights.
of a game, moments in a game that I thought were interesting.
Does that sound familiar?
Yeah,
It's YouTube shorts. It's the montages people make now. That's what I started making on YouTube back in the day.
Have you ever invented anything?
now
It's as if I don't exist and they have erased me.
from YouTube.
Oh, a man can dream, though. A man can dream.
You can't find my content. I used to get consistent views on my backlog that would actually make me lots of money.
The backlog cannot be viewed on YouTube by search. It just doesn't show up. You know?
You suck!
Just because YouTube has changed things so many times over the years. So,
I'm lucky.
because I have a dedicated group of fans who actually like me and still watch my content to this day, and it's enough to support me,
Where's my fucking money?
But I'm very lucky.
there's a lot of YouTubers who are in the same situation as me who over the years have fallen out of prominence because they just don't fall into the algorithm anymore. And then they don't get any views.
Look at all those views. Literally hundreds, dudes.
So they can't make a living anymore. Luckily for me, you guys are so supportive of me. I really appreciate that. I can keep doing this for a living, so thank you for that.
My bitch better have my money.
But never did I say they deleted my clicks. I have no idea what that even means.
Deleting clicks. But thanks for the tip.
No, I've never played a Star Ocean game.
It's familiar to me like the name, but I've never played one.
Whenever someone says Star Ocean, it reminds me of Star Tropics on the NES from back in the day. That I rented and played, and that was a good RPG.
He is the most boring man in the world.
The first invasive brain chip that Neuralink embedded in the human brain has malfunctioned.
With neuron surveilling threads appearing to have become dislodged from the participant's brain, the company revealed in a blog post on Wednesday.
You're not a doctor.
It is unclear what caused the threads to become retracted from the brain, how many have retracted, or if the displaced threads pose any kind of safety risk. Neuralink, the brain-computer interface startup run by controversial billionaire Elon Musk,
Did not immediately respond to requests for comment from ours.
Oh, Oh, what the hell is this bullshit?
The company said in its blog post that the problem began in late February, so this has been happening since late February, and they didn't tell anyone about it until, like, 2 days ago.
It has since been able to compensate for this lost data to some extent by modifying its algorithm.
It remains unclear why the threads moved from their placement, but one hypothesis that sources told the Journal is that they're air trapped inside of the person's skull after the surgery, a condition called
pneumocephalus.
The sources familiar with Neuralink's trial said that the possibility of removing the implant was considered after the problem was identified.
I just can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.